On a bustling high street in Colindale, North London, a cluster of barbershops gleams under neon signs advertising hot towel shaves and precision fades for just £10 a pop. Young men in crisp tracksuits and gold chains lounge outside, clippers buzzing inside as customers, mostly locals, settle into leather chairs for a trim. But their eyes dart to every passerby with a calculated gaze, a subtle menace lurking beneath the friendly banter. "You here for a cut, mate? Or just browsing?" One barber mutters to an unfamiliar face, his tone laced with a cold warning that cuts through the hum of electric razors. This is Albanian Mafia territory, where these unassuming shops serve as more than grooming hubs. They're fortified fronts for a shadowy empire of organized crime. Albanian gangs, notorious for their grip on the UK's underworld, have infiltrated these high street staples, using them to launder drug money, traffic humans, and orchestrate smuggling operations right under the noses of oblivious Londoners. By day, the shops look like any other budget barbershop, packed with walk-ins seeking affordable styles amid the scent of aftershave and pomade. By night, when the shutters come down, they transform into nerve centers for illicit deals, with back rooms hiding stacks of cash and whispered negotiations. Locals have long noticed the anomalies. Luxury cars like Mercedes and BMWs parked curbside, far beyond what a £15 haircut could afford. Owners flashing Rolexes and designer gear despite sparse customer traffic, and a revolving door of young Albanian men, some barely out of their teens, manning the chairs with little apparent barbering skill. These aren't just coincidences. A 2023 Metropolitan Police report revealed that gangs like those led by figures such as the Haziri brothers have embedded themselves here, turning spots like the infamous CSG Barbers, once a rundown outlet nestled between a charity shop and a used car dealership, into hubs for cocaine distribution and underground casinos. Social media amplifies the allure, with Instagram reels from similar operations showing masked barbers posing with wads of notes and high-end vehicles, rapping in Albanian about loyalty and hustle, drawing in recruits with promises of quick riches. Before platforms cracked down in 2024, accounts tied to these networks boasted thousands of followers, glamorizing a lifestyle funded by crime. The message is clear. These barbershops are ready for business, of the deadliest kind, backed by networks smuggling migrants across the channel and flooding streets with high-purity cocaine. The gangs enforce their rule with intimidation and violence, leaving communities wary and authorities scrambling to peel back the layers. The barbershops of Colindale, now pulsating with the Albanian Mafia's illicit deals, owe their dark transformation to a chaotic history forged in the Balkans during the 1990s, when war and collapse bred a generation of hardened criminals. The fall of Albania's communist regime in 1991 plunged the country into economic ruin, with state institutions crumbling and poverty gripping rural towns. By 1997, the collapse of fraudulent pyramid schemes sparked nationwide riots, leaving over 2,000 dead and arsenals of looted weapons in civilian hands, as documented in a 1998 United Nations report. In neighboring Kosovo, the 1998 to 1999 war against Serbian forces displaced tens of thousands, with young men either fighting as guerrillas or fleeing as refugees, their lives scarred by violence and loss. In this lawless crucible, smuggling, cigarettes, weapons, even people became a lifeline for survival. A 2003 Interpol report noted that Albanian criminal networks, rooted in tight-knit clan structures, thrived in this chaos, leveraging cultural codes like BARBER, a sacred vow of trust, to secure deals, and kanon, an ancient honor code sanctioning lethal retribution to enforce loyalty. Young men, like those who later manned Colindale's barbershops, cut their teeth running black market operations across porous Balkan borders, learning to navigate danger with ruthless efficiency. By the late 1990s, as Albania's economy stagnated, thousands sought opportunity abroad, with London emerging as a prime destination due to its booming economy and lax immigration controls. A 2005 Home Office analysis estimated that over 10,000 Albanians arrived in the UK during this period, many as asylum seekers claiming persecution from Balkan conflicts. Among them were ambitious opportunists who saw London's underworld, rife with drugs, vice, and cash-heavy businesses, as ripe for conquest. These early arrivals, hardened by their homeland's turmoil, brought a unique blend of discipline and brutality, setting the stage for their takeover of unassuming fronts like barbershops. In Colindale, where a growing Albanian diaspora settled, these men found a community to exploit and a foothold to build their empire, their Balkan roots fueling a relentless drive that would soon reshape the high street's quiet storefronts into hubs of organized crime. The Albanian Mafia, forged in the lawless crucible of the Balkans, found fertile ground in Colindale's High Street by the mid-2000s, transforming its modest barbershops into covert strongholds of organized crime. As Albanian migrants settled in North London, drawn by the area's affordability and growing diaspora, their criminal networks saw opportunity in the power vacuum left by declining local gangs. A 2010 Home Office report noted that Turkish and British crime groups, once dominant in Colindale's drug and extortion rackets, were weakened by Metropolitan Police crackdowns like Operation Trident, creating an opening for ambitious newcomers. Albanian gangs, leveraging their tight clan-based structures and ruthless efficiency, began targeting small businesses with high cash turnover. Barbershops, with their low overheads and constant foot traffic, were ideal. By 2007, several shops along Colindale High Street had quietly changed hands, often through cash deals or coercion, with owners pressured to sell or partner with Albanian operatives. A 2012 Metropolitan Police investigation revealed one such shop, a nondescript outlet near a bus stop, was purchased for £50,000 in cash, far above its market value, by an Albanian national, later linked to drug trafficking. These shops were strategically chosen for their design. Narrow entrances, frosted windows, and back rooms with locked doors offered secrecy, while their community presence deflected suspicion. Inside, the transformation was subtle but deliberate. Barbers with minimal training took over, their clippers masking whispered deals as drugs and cash changed hands behind mirrored panels. A 2015 NCA report highlighted how these businesses laundered drug money by inflating haircut receipts, funneling thousands weekly into legitimate bank accounts. The shops also served as safe houses for stashing cocaine, with small quantities hidden in hollowed-out furniture, ready for distribution to street dealers. By the late 2010s, Colindale's barbershops had morphed into sophisticated cogs in the Albanian Mafia's criminal machine, their buzzing clippers and polished mirrors cloaking a dark nexus of drugs, cash, and human exploitation. These unassuming storefronts, like CSG Barbers, a rundown shop sandwiched between a charity store and a used appliance outlet on Colindale High Street, served as textbook examples of how the Mafia hid their operations in plain sight. Beneath the neon glow of hot towel shave signs, these shops ran cocaine distribution, money laundering, and human trafficking with chilling precision, all while blending into the daily hum of North London. A 2023 National Crime Agency report estimated that Albanian gangs control 60% of the UK's £5 billion cocaine market, with barbershops like CSG acting as key hubs for laundering profits and distributing drugs. The mechanics were deceptively simple: cash from haircuts mingled with drug money, inflated receipts funneling thousands weekly into legitimate accounts. A 2022 Metropolitan Police raid on CSG Barbers, part of Operation Machinize, laid bare this scheme. Officers discovered a basement casino with poker and blackjack tables, where dealers and criminals wagered thousands nightly, alongside £80,000 in cash hidden in hollowed-out furniture, and ledgers logging £10 haircuts as £100 services. The shop was the nerve centre of the Eddie Line, a cocaine network led by brothers Edmund and Edward Haziri, who flooded Swadlincote, northwest Leicestershire, and East Staffordshire with £1.1 million in drugs daily, serving up to 145 customers, often wrapping cocaine in lottery tickets for discreet delivery. The Haziris, inspired by Scarface's Tony Montana, enlisted their cousin Gazmand Hoxha and associate Alban Krasniqi to manage logistics, with a network of mostly Romanian runners handling street deals. Their operation, uncovered after a police community support officer spotted a suspicious car in Swadlincote in 2022, relied on encrypted signal messages and an iPhone tossed into a neighbor's garden during a raid, which police unlocked using CCTV footage of Krasniqi's PIN entry. The brothers' lavish lifestyles, Rolex watches, designer clothes, and stacks of £50 notes contrasted sharply with the misery they spread, as noted in a 2023 Sun report detailing their 30-year combined sentences. Beyond drugs, these shops doubled as trafficking hubs, with CSG's locked back rooms hosting meetings for recruiters processing migrants smuggled across the channel, as per a 2023 Home Office report, estimating thousands of annual crossings by Albanian networks. Tinted windows and coded knocks shielded these deals, while the shop's banality, customers chatting over fades, kept suspicion at bay. This hidden racket, perfected in places like CSG, thrived by exploiting Colindale's trust, luring vulnerable youths into a cycle of crime with promises of wealth that masked a brutal reality waiting to unfold. The deceptive operations humming within Colindale's barbershops, like the drug deals and cash laundering exposed in raids on spots such as CSG barbers, extended their reach into the hearts of vulnerable communities by the early 2000s and 20s, turning promises of prosperity into traps of exploitation and fear. Albanian Mafia networks, capitalizing on their embedded fronts, honed recruitment tactics that preyed on young Albanian men in London's diaspora, many of whom faced economic hardship, limited job opportunities, and the stigma of migration. A 2022 expert briefing from Emerald Insight highlighted how Albanian communities in Western Europe, including the UK, serve as both cover and recruiting grounds for organized crime, with gangs targeting desperate newcomers, often recent arrivals via small boats across the channel, who are lured with offers of work in legitimate-seeming businesses like barbershops. Social media became a key weapon in this arsenal, with platforms like TikTok and Instagram flooded with glamorous posts from gang-affiliated accounts showing young men flashing cash, luxury cars, and designer clothes, rapping about hustle and loyalty to draw in teens as young as 15. An April 2025 OSCE report on Albanian youth crime trends detailed how criminal groups exploit these platforms for recruitment, promising quick riches and status to impressionable youths from impoverished backgrounds, only to coerce them into roles as drug runners or enforcers once hooked. For instance, the Haziri brothers, Edmund and Edward, whose Eddie Line cocaine operation was dismantled in 2023 after a Metropolitan Police investigation revealed their use of a barbershop as a coordination hub, recruited Romanian and Albanian youths through such online allure, enlisting them as couriers who wrapped drugs in lottery tickets for delivery, as reported in a 2023 article by The Sun. These recruits, often indebted migrants or local teens from troubled homes, faced brutal realities, threats of violence against families back in Albania if they refused, echoing the canon code of retribution twisted for criminal ends. A 2023 Home Office report estimated that Albanian networks facilitate thousands of illegal crossings annually, with many arrivals funneled into exploitative labor in fronts like barbershops, where they endure modern slavery conditions, long hours for minimal pay, passport confiscation, and forced involvement in crime. The community impact rippled outward, sowing fear in Colindale's neighborhoods. Parents steered sons away from suspicious shops. Local businesses paid unspoken protection fees, and knife crime ticked up as turf disputes spilled into streets, per a 2024 NCA community assessment, noting increased violence in Albanian-dominated areas. Charities like the Salvation Army reported in 2024 that trafficked youths, some as young as 14, suffered psychological trauma, with overdose rates climbing among those drawn into drug dealing. This cycle of seduction and subjugation not only devastated families, but fortified the Mafia's local grip, creating an invisible web of control that stretched far beyond Colindale's High Street, prompting a coordinated international response from law enforcement to sever its global tentacles. The invisible web of control spun through Colindale's barbershops, where vulnerable youths were ensnared in cycles of crime, stretched far beyond North London, anchoring a global Albanian mafia empire that by 2023 dominated Europe's drug trade and sparked a fierce international law enforcement response. These unassuming shops, outwardly offering £12 fades, were linchpins in a vertically integrated network sourcing cocaine from Latin American cartels in Colombia and Ecuador, channeling it through European ports like Rotterdam to UK streets. A 2025 BBC investigation revealed Albanian operatives expanding their foothold in Ecuador, forging alliances with local traffickers to control key routes, fueling a UK cocaine market valued at £11 billion annually. Beyond drugs, the Mafia orchestrated large-scale human smuggling, with a 2023 Home Office report estimating thousands of illegal channel crossings yearly. Many migrants coerced into debt bondage upon arrival and funneled through fronts like barbershops to work in cannabis farms or forced labor. Money laundering tied the operation together, with profits cleaned through inflated haircut receipts and remitted to Albania via encrypted apps or hawala systems, as outlined in the National Crime Agency's 2025 National Strategic Assessment, which linked Albanian groups to drug supply, production, and financial crime. The scale of this empire drew a relentless law enforcement backlash. In August 2024, Europol's Operation Balkan dismantled a major Albanian network, arresting 15 suspects across Albania and Europe for cocaine trafficking and money laundering, seizing assets worth millions. A November 2024 bust cracked Sky ECC communications, leading to 21 arrests of a violent Albanian gang tied to UK drug distribution and extortion. By August 2025, raids in Albania, backed by Europol and Belgian authorities, netted 10 members of a network engaged in drug trafficking, money laundering, and violent enforcement. In the UK, the NCA's 2023 to 2028 Serious and Organised Crime Strategy drove targeted disruption, with Operation Machinize in April 2025, a 3-week crackdown hitting hundreds of barbershops and cash-intensive businesses across England, yielding arrests and seizures for money laundering and fraud. Bilateral agreements, like the UK's 2023 deal with Albania for streamlined deportations and joint patrols, further bolstered these efforts, reducing small boat crossings by 36% in 2024 per Home Office data. Yet despite these victories, the Mafia's adaptability, shifting routes and using encrypted tech, ensured their web endured, leaving Colindale's residents to bear the lasting toll of fear, addiction, and fractured communities in a siege that showed no signs of lifting. The Albanian Mafia's global web, spinning through Colindale's barbershops to ensnare vulnerable lives in a cycle of drugs and exploitation, has cast a long shadow over North London, leaving its residents in a state of quiet dread by 2025. The neon glow of shops like those on Colindale High Street, once symbols of community routine, now signals a pervasive fear, their polished facades hiding a toll that fractures families, fuels addiction, and erodes trust. A 2024 National Crime Agency Community Impact Assessment documented this unease, noting that residents in Albanian gang-dominated areas like Colindale avoid certain businesses after dark, wary of unspoken taxes demanded by gang affiliates. Local shopkeepers, from vape stores to halal butchers, whisper of paying £200 weekly in protection fees, as revealed in a 2025 Metropolitan Police briefing, their livelihoods tethered to the Mafia's whims. The human cost is devastating. A 2024 Salvation Army report detailed the plight of trafficked Albanian youths, some as young as 14, coerced into working at barbershops to repay smuggling debts. One boy, Besart, lured from a rural Albanian village with promises of a barbering job, found himself delivering cocaine packages across North London, his passport seized and his sister in Tirana threatened. As recounted in a 2025 Home Office case study, addiction has surged, with a 2024 NHS North London study reporting a 20% spike in cocaine-related hospital admissions in Colindale, driven by the Mafia's cheap, potent supply flooding the streets. Violence, too, scars the community. A 2025 Evening Standard article described the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Jamal near a barbershop. Caught in a turf war fueled by the Albanian drug trade, his death a grim echo of rising knife crime noted in a 2024 NCA report. Economically, Colindale bleeds as drug profits are siphoned to Albania, leaving families trapped in poverty, while luxury cars idle outside shops that claim to survive on £12 haircuts. Yet, amidst this siege, pockets of resilience emerge. Community groups, funded by a 2025 council initiative, run workshops to divert teens from the Mafia's allure, offering coding classes and sports programs. Charities like Refuge provide safe houses for trafficking victims, helping boys like Basar escape. But the barbershop's menace persists. Their clippers a haunting rhythm in a neighborhood where every haircut carries the weight of an unseen empire. Thank you for watching today's episode. To dive deeper into the dark underbelly of UK crimes like these and join the fight to expose the truth, subscribe to Crime Pulse on YouTube, like this video and drop your comment. See you on the next one.